everybody, Chris and Amber here. Welcome back to another episode of Woodmere Estate Revival. We are in the kitchen today, and we're excited because we're going to finish up the island this weekend. We're going to knock it out.
We're going to finish it today.
We're not going to finish it today, more than likely, but we're going to give it a try.
Well, it is 5 o'clock, so.
I know, it's kind of late in the day, but we had to do a few things this morning to get the pool ready, and then we had to go shopping, pick up some wood and everything at the local box store, and then come back here and kind of get things laid out. So doubt we'll get it all done today, but we're going to give it a try. Let's take a look, see what we got left to accomplish here. All right, so as you remember, we assembled all the cabinets and we put blocking on the floor, and then we screwed the cabinets, this front row cabinets, to the blocking. So we got that done previously, and then we at least laid out where the rest of this stuff was going to go a couple of weeks ago. Then we realized that we needed to order some more parts to get it all wrapped up. So we just finished attaching these 3 lower cabinets through the faces. So they're all nice and tightly anchored together. Then we'll get them spaced out just right.
Do we have to put blocking on the floor for these too?
Not necessarily, because these others are definitely not going anywhere.
Okay.
Because of the blocking under them, and because they're going to have an oven and
Yeah.
all sorts of other nice heavy stuff in it. Then you got a top on top of it. So no, I think just attaching the lowers here to the cabinets that are already there will be sufficient.
Perfect.
Because it's not like anybody's going to be standing on them or pulling on them, or they're not going to be loaded full of something that would cause them to tip or anything that you really need to worry about. So no, I think we're good just building off of these cabinets here on the front. Because again, they're going to be heavy once you fill them up with appliances and have the countertop and everything else on there. And they are screwed solidly to blocking that goes all the way down through the subfloor. So I think we'll be in good shape there.
All right. Well, I want to explain. If you want to come over here.
Yeah, sure. Have at it, babe.
People that are just watching this episode might wonder why these are shorter than these.
Yes, do tell. Why
It's kind of weird.
are they shorter?
So we're doing an overhang, and we have those legs there on the floor that will come out here, and then we've got an apron or a valance that goes from this leg to that leg.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, if we did full height, the doors, you could not open them all the way.
Because they would have hit the back of the valance,
Yeah,
right?
so we had to do shorter cabinets here,
Mm-hmm.
and then we've got a piece that will come across here, and we're basically going to build this out, kind of a box,
Mm-hmm.
and then put the pretty blue wood in front to match. And so we're going to build this up so that it's at the same height.
Makes total sense.
Yes. And I wanted this here, number one, to make the island a little bit more stout. I didn't want just, I thought 24 inches was a little small for this room. So I
Right.
wanted to add more, make it bigger, but I also wanted more storage. So my cooking books and
Yeah.
some small appliances and things that we don't use very often are going to go.
Get hidden underneath.
Yeah, probably in this one and that one, and then my cookbooks will go in the middle one.
Okay.
So,
Sounds good.
yeah.
So we've got to do some custom work to get these things looking like it was one big built-in.
Yeah.
And we have to put these end panels on. And you can see that it's got a toe kick on it.
It's upside down.
Upside down. Ka-chow! I guess you could still kick it. So, so we have to cut this panel down so that it sits even with this, the back of this cabinet. And then we have to cut off the toe kick across there. And that has to sit level with the top of this cabinet. And then we got to do the same thing on the other end. And then we'll build out some framing to support the end panels and support the legs and support the countertop and the valance and everything else. So we're going to take some measurements here and then go ahead and cut some pieces and get things built out. Okay, we've got our first end piece ripped down to the right width. Nice work there, Vanna.
Thank you.
And now we just got to get the height.
Yeah. So take this and come straight across.
Straight across and cut that part off. Yep. So then that'll help to build out the end of that cabinet, and that'll give us a nice space to sit the trim piece. Well, I guess it's not really trim. It's this piece right here.
Yeah.
piece of stock. So that'll build out that side, and it'll actually come out to meet this leg as well. That'll help us to get all this boxed in. So I'm going to take a measurement here, and then I'll go out and cut this piece down on the table saw. It'll be a little trickier.
Yep.
But I can do it. Right?
You the man.
I don't know about all that, but feeling pretty confident right now.
You're my man.
There you go. All right, I'm going to go cut this thing. We'll see what it looks like. Okay, so we got this end panel cut down and mounted in place on the end of this cabinet. We still haven't mounted it where these two cabinets come together. We'll work on that here after a bit. Now you may be asking yourself, why is this part done instead of this one down here? Well, I'll tell you, there's a good reason for that. So when I was cutting this down on the table saw got a little wonky and ended up chewing up this end down here. Made it look like a beaver had been chewing on it, as my dad likes to say. And so I thought, oh man, that looks awful. What am I gonna have to do? And it hit me. Oh, I'll turn it over and use it on the other end. So that's what we ended up doing, because the bottom of this is gonna be covered by a baseboard. And so you'll never see that beaver chewed end. So I went ahead and got that one screwed together. So that one's done. And then figured out a new technique for this one. Planned on doing the same thing. Ripped it down on the table saw to width. And then the bottom I cut upstairs on the compound miter saw. It still ended up chipping that plywood just a little bit. I was super careful, but I should have scored it with a razor knife first, but I forgot, and again chipped it. But I'm not concerned, because again, this end down here is actually going under a baseboard, and it's got other stuff on top of it, so no big deal. Nobody will ever know, except for me and all of you guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this one mounted, and then we'll be ready to build the frame out of 2x6 that builds out this whole top piece. And then the frame will actually extend out over the end of the cabinets, and it will bolt to our legs. And then all the trim boards, like these filler pieces and everything, will get attached to that. So it'll look beautiful, but it'll also function to hold a very heavy piece of quartz countertop that's going to go across this entire island. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one attached, and then we'll move on. All right, got this end panel screwed in place, and it looks very good. Very good indeed. So what we'll have to do on the back side of this is use some wood blocking, and we'll get this piece lined up. It's a little bit sprung, but we'll get this piece lined up, and then we'll drill some countersunk screws from the outside into that blocking, and that'll allow us to hold these two panels together nice and tight. And again, this entire end panel gets covered with another panel, so you'll never see any of the fasteners or anything that we're putting in there. But that'll just give us a way to kind of anchor everything together, and then we'll run some screws through the back of this cabinet into these in the middle, and that'll get all that nice and tight. And then once we build our frame, and let me show you this this trim piece here, this filler piece. So this goes, we'll cut this down to 2 feet. And then it's going to sit right here, just like so. And of course I got to rip it down a little bit too. You see it's a little bit wide, so I got to rip that down a little bit. But it'll sit just like that, flush with the end of this piece, right like that. And inside of that, we'll have a 2x6 frame, 2x6 box. And so these outer cabinets will get screwed to that, and that will run all the way across here, fastening to all of these cabinets on the back. And then we'll do the same thing with this filler piece on this side. That'll stick out a foot and cover up that structural piece that holds the legs in place. And then the box will go across the front of this as well, right about here, because there's another piece. I'll just use this one to kind of demonstrate where it's going to go. There's another piece That's going to have to get ripped down also, but that'll go across the top here. And so that again will give it a nice built-in look. And all of the structure, all the 2x6 and everything will be hidden on the inside here. So you won't be able to see any of that stuff. But that'll make this entire section of cabinets nice and strong. It's also going to support the weight of the countertop, and it'll give us something good to bolt our legs to. So it should make for a really nice, strong island. Definitely shouldn't go anywhere once we get this thing all built out. So very exciting. I'm going to go ahead and take a break for dinner and probably be back down here in a little bit and get some more done.